Here we are at Woodlawn National Cemetery in Elmira, New York. Burial ground of close to 3,000 Confederate soldiers who were imprisoned at the Elmira prison camp. Taken here and buried. Coming up now on the Shahola train wreck monument. Burial place of 49 Confederate soldiers who, while prisoners of war, were killed in a railroad accident near Shahola, Pennsylvania. It was on July 15th, 1864. Whose remains were buried, but subsequently removed to this cemetery where the individual graves cannot be identified, and it has a listing of all the men who were buried here. And on the other obverse side of this monument is a plaque dedicated to the 17 guards who perished in that accident. Following soldiers, privates, the 11th Veteran Reserve Corps, comprising the Union Guard who were killed with their Confederate prisoners on war in the railroad accident near Shahola, Pennsylvania. This is one of the only, if not the only place in the United States where Confederate and Union soldiers are buried together in this grave right here, where the remains in the early 30s they dug up and they brought the remains here. So here's the Confederates that were buried here, that are buried here. Like I say, close to 3,000. And the man who buried these men, John Jones, an escaped slave, runaway slave, says between July 1864 and of August of 1865, 2,973 Confederate soldiers were buried here with kindness and respect by John Jones, a runaway slave. They have remained in these hallowed grounds of Woodlawn National Cemetery by family choice because of the honorable way in which they were laid to rest by a caring man. So now we're going to take a look at some of the graves here. We're going to walk up here. A couple of interesting type graves. Each grave is marked, and if you notice, with the number, the name, and the regiment. Each grave has a point on it. Confederate graves, when they were interred here, they decided to put the points, a little triangular shape, peak on each grave, whereas the Union soldiers on this side have a rounded peak on theirs to differentiate between the Union and the Confederate soldiers. Now, if you're looking this way, you'll see that there's names and the writing is on this side of the stone. We come over here, and all of the writing on the stone is not here. This is all blank all the way down this side. Because if you come and you turn, you'll see the writing is on this side. So when you walk down the center down here like this, either side of you, to the right or to the left, will have the name, the company, and the number of the stone. Makes it easy for identification when people come from the south to look for their relatives who are buried here. They can look for the grave number. And they're starting at number 1 at the back and going right to the front up to 2973. Here's a number 2026, unknown CSA. See, many were, when they died, they didn't have any identification. So they didn't know who they were. So as we come down here, a lot of oak leaves on the ground here. It's April 9th, 2022. Little rainy spring day here, but we're going to come upon a little very unique grave here. You notice all of these markers are white. And I say all of them. You look out in that sea of almost 3,000 markers, and they're all white. This is going up to the front of the cemetery. But you'll see every so often an obscure one. There's a few different ones. And here's one right here. John Smith. A different stone. We're going to go up to the front here. We're going to look at the Confederate monument. It was placed here by the Sons of the Daughters of the Confederacy. I believe it was in 1937. Seeing the Confederate graves go way up to the back here, these 3 rows here. Here's the marker monument to the Confederate. In memory of the Confederate soldiers in the war between the states who died in Elmira Prison and lie buried here. Erected by the United Daughters of the Confederacy, November 6, 1937. So this is a beautiful bronze monument depicting the Confederate soldier. Confederate soldiers who, depicting them who perished while in Elmira prison camp during the time of that camp's existence from July of 64 to August of 65, the last year of the Civil War. And I'm going to take you over here. We're going to take a look at the last grave. It's on this end here or the other end. We're going to find out. It's number 2973. Maybe not. And here's another unique one, John Milton. No number on his, must have been a redone stone that may have been put here later by his family, or something happened to his original stone. There's another one that's a little different. A.G. Johnson of Alabama. So as we look at a panorama, I can't find the last stone. I'm not sure exactly where it is. This is 26, 27, 21, 29, 73 must be somewhere else. I'm not going to take the time today. But I'm just going to close with the pan of the Confederate graveyard, Confederate Cemetery in Woodlawn National Cemetery here in Elmira, New York. Graves of 2,973 Confederate soldiers who perished while being held prisoner in the Elmira prison camp.